How's it going, guys?
Great.
All right, let's get cracking. Anthony, please introduce yourself and the show, and then we'll get cracking.
What's going on, guys? Anthony Angelillo, branch manager with the Tag Team, powered by Paramount Residential Mortgage Group over here in the Sunshine State of Florida. In Miami Shores, CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation marketing company, and also co-host of this wonderful series called Damage Control with two lovely ladies right now. I am looking forward to today's episode. We were lucky enough to see Tessa at YPN, and she is a guru when it comes to marketing and Instagram, and you guys are going to learn a lot of stuff today, man. So I got my notepad ready. I'm gonna
Yes.
But introduce yourself. What's going on?
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney, co-host of Damage Control, and excited for March Marketing Madness. And so when we thought about who we wanted to have on the show, of course, we were highly recommended by a few people to have Tessa on the show. And then we got to meet her in person a few weeks ago. So it was a natural fit for real estate and marketing. She does a lot of cool things. You're an active realtor, right? As well as having a real estate marketing company. So please introduce yourself a little bit further. Give us some more details about what you do and how you do it. And then we'll get into the details of the show. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'll give you kind of the Cliff Notes version, but my summary of my journey into real estate and marketing is honestly tells you a lot as to why I teach the way I do and the things that we talk about. So when I first got started in real estate, I had just moved down to Arizona from Oregon. And I actually was working like 18,000 jobs and going to ASU at the same time and sleeping a whole 1 hour a night. And when I wasn't sleeping, in my spare time that I didn't have, I would watch HGTV. Flip or Flop was like my favorite show. And I would watch replays of it whenever I got the opportunity to. And I was like, oh gosh, I really want to do that. That looks so amazing to go and flip houses. And so being the kind of nerd that I was, I had always practiced, like growing up, I played around with making slideshows instead of hanging out with friends or going to parties. I was like a wizard at PowerPoint. And so I put together this PowerPoint presentation and pitched it to a friend of a friend of a friend who had a bit of money to see if he would be interested in being our first investor. And I had prepared so much for that moment, and I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden he said yes. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I hadn't thought about what would happen if you said yes. So had to learn very quickly. Got into residential flipping. So I did 23 properties that first year. I was 18 years old in college. I had no money to my name. So it was all about how we could continue to roll that over and drive it forward. And during that journey, I was documenting every single thing that I could on Facebook. This was 2013. So I was like, I think they had just started doing live Facebook Live. So I was going live on Facebook all the time. I was documenting everything. And then, of course, as Instagram grew more and more, I was sharing things on stories. I remember when stories were first introduced. And I was just sharing that journey. And naturally, you start to magnetize people who have that same kind of energy and excitement for what you're doing. And so that transitioned into building a residential resale team as well. Built a large team of agents. At our peak, we had 26 agents. We were the official real estate partner of the NBA's Phoenix Suns. And we're able to really make a strong impact here in our local market, which is Arizona, Scottsdale area. All because of showing the journey on social media. And so through that, I run a digital marketing agency today, and we focus on working with agents and teaching them this same kind of thing. Agents, investors, brokerages, whether it's on building your brand or really leveraging lead generation, but it all comes back to that original principle that I built my business on, which was documenting the journey and really building your corner of the internet. I always say that social media is your own reality TV show, and you get to kind of craft it exactly how you want. So that's the beauty of it, is that we get to establish these massive relationships and drive this story forward through social media.
Social media is your own reality TV show.
Right.
That's the quote for the day. I love that. And you know what? It's true. There's something people love about reality TV. And I feel like the more I document about my life, the more engagement I get. you know, in the DMs or wherever that may be. So it could be about, you know, some people are like, don't always post about what you eat or about your kids, or like, it's really just a little bit of everything, right? A little bit about yourself, and people get to know you that way. It's amazing because during the last year of quarantine, like that's all we really had was media, different ways of media, right? So I'm now meeting people for the first time, and we know who each other are just because of social media, and we never met before. So it's really a powerful tool if you use it correctly.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's one of my favorite things to like compliments or comments to receive. So 2019, 2020, well, start of 2020, I was always speaking at different conferences. 2019, I think I was in a different city like almost every week at different real estate conferences and marketing workshops and masterminds. And that was my favorite piece of feedback to receive, is every time I would get off stage, I would have people that would come up to me and say, wow, you're exactly as you are online. Like, you're just the way I thought you would be. And to me, that shows me that I'm doing exactly what I've been trying to do online, is I'm allowing people to get to know me and to build that relationship virtually with me. And it does so much to break down the walls. If you think about it in terms of clients, right? In real estate, we always hear that term, the like, know, and trust. But that's the beauty of social media, is without even knowing it, and sometimes without even intentionally doing it, we're establishing that like, know, and trust to the point where I connect with somebody in real life and they already feel like they can talk to me like we've been friends for years.
That's so good. I think that also allows for you to be more approachable, right?
Mhm.
I don't know about you guys, but I know for myself, being a lawyer, sometimes that can make me less approachable. So talking about my lunch and my morning routine and my makeup that I'm wearing today and my kids, in addition to the deals that I close and everything else, it definitely, I've realized, makes me more approachable and allows people to connect with me in different ways. So, you know, you
Relatable.
use that.
Real good.
Yes. Use it as a tool to like compensate for whatever kind of things you have. I think probably for you too, people think you're like really intense, right? But I think when you post about different things, I think that definitely breaks down that assumption that people might have right off the bat if they met you for the first time, maybe in a different way.
Yeah, it humanizes you a lot. It definitely does make you more approachable, and it allows for connection in other areas. Like, I think it opens up channels for communication. When I'm posting, you know, my workout or what I got at the coffee shop that morning or something, people are able to engage with that. I literally have people, there was a time I was drinking this one Starbucks drink and I would post the menu or the picture of the little label of what that order was. I would post it on my story when I'd pick it up. And I started getting people that follow me from all over that would go and order this same drink and take a photo of it and tag me in it on social media. And naturally, I started to gain even followers from it, because I started to just get tagged by all of these people that I had never talked to before. And now you're able to start conversation with them. And, you know, whether that turns into business or not, you're cultivating a community of people and you're building this loyal tribe that really does come with you, no matter what you're doing, selling houses or selling ice cubes. You could have people that'll join you on the journey.
I love that. And so what we're talking about right now, it has a lot to do with the story aspect of Instagram. So let's break that down a little bit. I know a lot of people are always concerned, or they're really worried about what they're going to post. But I think sometimes people get stuck on that, and just being like, you know, in the stories is really where the connections are made. At least I feel. So for those of the people that are watching either live or later on, can you go through and talk about like the purpose of a post and the purpose of a story?
Yes. Oh, I love this topic. One of the things that I always try to focus on is my Instagram feed. And a lot of the stuff I talk about, I love Instagram. I think it's one of the most powerful tools, especially for people in real estate. But so many of those principles are transferable to other platforms as well. It's the same kind of basics and fundamentals that you can take platform to platform. But for Instagram, I shoot for my feed posts to be something, of course, one that's evergreen. So I don't want to be posting an open house that's only relevant for that weekend, because then when somebody comes to my page a month from now and they see an open house that was a month ago, it does absolutely nothing for them. They're getting nothing of value from that post. So I make sure that everything I'm sharing on my feed is evergreen. It's always going to be relevant. Or if somebody were to come look at it a month, a year, 10 years from now, they would still be able to get something from it. Whether it's seeing what the market was like, it's learning more about me and how I operate my business. It's a story or case study of a result that I drove for a client. And then I also want to make sure that I always operate my feed posts off of 3 E's. So it's going to be entertainment, education, or emotion. Those are the 3 E's that I try to structure my content around. Education is pretty much a given. We want to be adding value as much as we can. I lead with that giver's gain mentality. Entertainment, people love entertainment. Everybody wants to laugh, whether it's kind of a polarizing comment, maybe it's a meme. There's things that we see that are so funny and that entertain us in one way or another. People gravitate towards that naturally. And finally is emotion, whether that's sharing, somebody feeling so elated because they finally got the property that they've been dreaming of. Maybe it is excitement because they are done having to battle this crazy inventory market. Maybe it's fear around they don't know how to navigate their first property purchase, and I'm helping them through that. So kind of sharing those emotions is what I can structure that feed content around. And then my stories is just, as we were talking about, is the stuff I want people to know that this is who I am, that I walk the walk, I talk the talk, this is how I show up. And when you meet me in person, you choose to work with me, you're going to get that exact version. So I use my stories more so to allow people to peek behind the scenes and to kind of connect with me as a human. So I'm sharing the other elements of myself and who I am and how I do what I do, so that we're able to kind of open channels for connection, communication, and like you said, break down those barriers. Like I have the worst dad jokes of all time, and I just kind of make horrible jokes all the time. And so I throw that on my stories so that people can laugh and see how kind of dorky it is, but it breaks down those walls and it allows more connection for sure.
I love that.
Let me ask you a question here. So educational, all right, entertainment, emotional. If I'm a new agent right now, what type of content should I post on all 3 of them? Can you give us an example?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things for emotion-based content, and so maybe you're a new agent, a great story would be, and I don't mean Instagram story, I mean a great post, so piece of content would be sharing the story as to why you got into real estate. What motivated you to get into real estate? Was it a career change that was driving you to find additional streams of income? Maybe you're really passionate about helping people create their own property. Maybe you were homeless at some point, so you're really connected to this feeling of building a house or a home. Maybe it was your own personal real estate journey. You purchased a house and you either had a great agent that made it super easy and helpful for you, and so you wanted to do that for others, or maybe you had a bad experience and you wanted to help people avoid that process too. So sharing some kind of story as to why you got into real estate and tapping into an emotion there could be an awesome way to drive that content. Entertainment, I always think this is fun to show people a bit behind the scenes. Like I'm sure most people are familiar with the Instagram account, The Broke Agent. It's the meme real estate account. It's my good friend Eric Simon.
Awesome.
Dude, he is so funny. It's like I seriously die laughing at those posts, but all of us love them. I even have tons of my friends when I share one of those posts who are so not in real estate and still find it hilarious. So that kind of thing could be a great example of entertainment. It doesn't have to be a meme, but it could be a video simply where you're showing people behind the scenes of listing photos, or you are kind of making a couple jokes about what you do during an open house when nobody's coming in. You're like doing curls with some lock boxes or something. Like just have a little bit of fun with it and allow your personality to shine. And with that being said, don't be something that you're not. If that's not how you operate, then connect it to what makes sense for you. But also, if you are that jokester and you like to have fun, you don't need to be all suited up and acting super proper just because you think that's this mold that you have to fit into. I think it's about letting your true, authentic self kind of shine through. And then the education piece is, I think this one's often overlooked in real estate, but we see these things being in and around the industry. Terminology makes sense. We see charts and graphs and market updates, and we're like, okay, yeah, we get that. But I oftentimes see that kind of content just thrown up on social media. But to a general consumer, they have no idea what that really means for them. So I encourage agents to always ask themselves that question. When I'm creating content, especially if I'm sharing some facts or some figures or some numbers, I want to make sure that there's a piece of that content, whether it's in my caption or in a video, where I'm answering the consumer question of, well, what does that mean for me? So I'm going to share, okay, here's 3 things that are updates about the market here in Scottsdale. What does that mean for you? Oh, it probably means that your house may have appreciated this much, or that you could see these kind of returns, or that this would be a great time to sell or to buy in this area. So that you're answering the question and actually taking it a step further so they can apply it to their real life situation.
Awesome.
Makes sense. Do you have separate accounts? I know you have your Tessa Bella account. That's for it's very clearly real estate marketing. Do you have a separate one for your like real estate business? Or
So I actually sold my real estate team.
Okay.
I ran it previously with a partner. So now I focus primarily on the marketing side. But to answer a question that kind of, I imagine would follow that up about agents having 1 or 2 accounts, I always think that it's so important to keep things under one umbrella as long as possible. Whether it's your personal account and you talk about real estate, because people want to know who you are. They don't care too much. You've probably seen the real estate accounts where you just have, your new listings and you get 10 likes on it, not a whole lot of people connecting and engaging with it, versus your personal account. People are way more connected to you. So I encourage agents typically to try and keep it under kind of one umbrella as long as possible. I feel like makes the most sense, and it obviously alleviates some of that workload as well.
I totally agree with that. You mentioned that at YPN too, having it bleed into your personal or just having one. Because I have 2, and the engagement is nothing compared to my personal. So that's interesting you said that.
Yeah. And I think there's time and place where it can make sense to break them off. Like when we did have the large team, 26 agents, I did have a team account where I was highlighting people. I'd have our agents come on and talk about themselves, but I still tried to drive the content with more of that personal connectivity and really sharing content that allowed someone to like hear more of a story. I think that's the biggest thing is we see it happen time and time again. Posting the front of a house that says just sold, it doesn't do a lot for somebody. It doesn't really make them feel, oh, cool, you could sell my house or anything. Instead, we could talk about like a situation that someone ran into, why their house has been sitting on the market, what I came in and marketed differently to help them sell it, and the result that we got. So I'm telling it more in like a case study kind of style versus just saying, oh, sold, because that doesn't elicit really any reaction.
So you're essentially painting the picture for the consumer through your storytelling.
You do that a lot. You do that a lot with, especially like bringing in the client testimonial part into the story. Telling
because those are true stories. That's the real life content that people want to hear. That's what started damage control. You know what I mean? That's the concept, is the raw material and the raw content that we should be sharing to consumers. What's the best post that you've ever had engagement on? I'm curious.
Okay, there's actually one. This was on our real estate account back in the day, and it was it turned into a whole series actually. And it was top pizza place in Phoenix. And we created this whole like kind of competition around it, trying all these different pizza places. I then was able to, so my brain just runs with stuff. Okay. So that post starts getting a lot of engagement. I made friends with the manager and the owner of this place, and we put together a whole little deal that people could come in and our team name was Couple of Agents at the time. So they could come in and say Couple of Agents and they would get a discount. And they would get like 20% off or something. I would go and work out of this pizza place. Like I'd just pop up my laptop and sit in there all the time. And I'd invite people to come and sit with me. So I turned it into this whole thing. And then I would create guides. I had a PDF that was like the best pizza places in the valley. And so I'd have it separated by city. I would include open houses around the pizza places. Like I turned it into this whole thing. And we had so many people that connected and engaged with it. And it was also starting to condition people to reach out to us for other things. So I would start getting DMs being like, hey, we're coming to town, or hey, we just moved here and we're looking for, a cool coffee shop in this area. Do you have any recommendations? And I mean, you just became that digital mayor that so many people strive to be. You've established yourself as the person that people connect to and reach out to whenever they need something. You need a landscaper? I've got you. You need somebody to tip a cow in the middle of the night? I could probably find somebody. It's like establishing yourself as that person that they can come to whenever they need something. And as real estate agents, that's a goal, right? We want to be known as the person they come to for anything, really.
I love that. I love that.
That's
so
awesome.
when you're doing your posts, I see. I mean, I try to do this as much as I can, and I've gotten. I'm more intentional on it now. Is it making most of the pictures be a picture of yourself, because that's really where the most engagement is. So, do you have anything you want to share on that? Because I know not everybody likes to always do that.
Yeah, I think definitely a part of it is finding what you're comfortable with. Like, to me, it naturally has kind of evolved that way. And yeah, posts with your face in it get a lot more engagement, or a person in general. Even if it's like a stock photo, but it's somebody in front of a house or in a kitchen or something, it's going to get a lot more engagement to have a human in the photo. But people who kind of are shy of doing that or scared of doing it, I encourage you to get on a video and break through that fear. I used to be, believe it or not, like petrified of getting on video, which is funny because now I spend 90% of my day in front of some sort of camera at some point. But I used to hate it. Like, the camera would turn on and I would just freeze, deer in the headlights, no idea what to say. And so my theory has always been throw yourself in the deep end. And I made this commitment to do a 30-day live challenge. And this, I think, was in maybe like 2016, 2017. And I went live on Facebook every single day for 30 days. And sometimes I would have like a total structure and I'd talk about common questions for first-time buyers or something. Some days I was on for maybe 30 to 60 seconds and I was just kind of giving an update of what happened with my day. But the point was, I was showing up. And I actually ended up in that 30-day span, I generated a lot more, but I closed 8 transactions from the people who found me through those live videos. Wow. Now, of course, it wasn't all about 30 days, but as a result of that 30-day live. And a lot of the feedback was less about the content I was sharing on those live videos and more about the commitment and consistency to showing up every day. I had one client, his name is Trevor, who literally said, I chose to work with you over his brother, who's in real estate here as well, because I saw you consistently showing up every single day. And I knew that if you could do that when nobody was watching, or when, 3 people were tuning into a live video, that you would be like the best, most dedicated agent, because you would show up and do what you needed to do every day. And like, that kind of feedback was crazy. That's kind of what I was thinking in my mind, but to hear somebody say it without being prompted was pretty cool. So it really solidified that for me. And then it made getting on video much easier. So yes, getting on video, doing a photo, something like that is going to always get more connection.
And they just got to get in the arena, jump in the deep end.
You
right?
just got to do it. So yeah. we did a challenge, a 100-day challenge, 10 calls a day. And one of the agents is already under contract. They're like, it's just repeat, 10 calls a day, 10 calls a day. And obviously their pipeline now is filling up. So it's the consistency. That's all it is the consistency. Your 30 days of video streaming obviously caught a big engagement. And 8 transactions, that's impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
That is. I love that. That could be our next challenge that we do. We joined.
Everyone's thinking, oh my God, I gotta go on video now. Holy
Get ready, guys. We're coming for the video.
It's good though, because it breaks down that feeling of like that every video has to have a super big topic behind it. Yeah, you literally just show up and kind of just be on there and like summarize your day, or talk about a showing, or tell a funny story or something. And it just kind of like humanizes the whole process, makes it that much easier.
Didn't you say at YPN, I think you said this, that you were in a hoodie and you had most likes and you were like, what the hell is this? How are people engaging me if I'm all not dolled up or whatever the case is? I think of my posts think that way. I think people think that way in general, that you have to look all fancy and clean cut and shaved to go on video. Yeah,
no, it's 100%. Some of my like best engaged Instagram stories, some of my posts on Instagram where I'm like totally not done up at all, I'm in a hoodie or my hair's falling off my head. People engage with that and they connect with it because it humanizes you. It's again breaking down those walls, and it's the reality, especially after 2020. Most people know what it looks like to see yourself in Zoom attire, where the bottom half is full pajama and the top half is like kind of a collared shirt, but that's about as good as we're gonna get. And like having fun with that, it's relatable for people. And at the end of the day, obviously knowing your clientele and your niche and stuff, but it makes it relatable. And that's what's kind of fun for people too.
So a question from the audience, do you
Yeah.
post different info from Facebook and Instagram, or are they connected and they just filter through?
Yeah, that is a great question. I'm all about efficiency. I plan content out for like a month at a time. I love to backstock things so that I can make sure I always have stuff prepared. So yes, I typically am having things just syndicate directly to Facebook. But what I want to say about that as well is I always like to use the example of this. If you had 100 people in your audience, I want to know that at any given time, I could pull 10 of those people and they would at least be able to give me like a high level understanding of the type of content I share and what I'm all about. So until you have the confidence that your audience knows enough about your message and your mission, then you're not sharing it enough. So don't be afraid to repeat, recycle, and regurgitate messages and content that you've already shared and kind of repurpose it. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're just copy and pasting the exact thing across everywhere and anywhere. You can kind of repurpose it. I can maybe take this one post I did on Instagram and turn that into 3 reels and post it on my Facebook page and tweet a little clip of it and post something on LinkedIn and put a video out later on IGTV, but it's all that same exact topic. And I'm able to just continue to kind of break it down.
So
Tomorrow we're talking about repurposing content. So
Sure,
that's a whole other a whole other thing.
So when you plan a month ahead, obviously, you're setting yourself up for, content for what, 30 days, 60 days? Like how much content are you repurposing?
Yeah,
I think why I ask that is I guarantee if I were to ask anyone in the audience, they're doing it on the daily and it's procrastination, right? And so they're not consistent about it. So if they miss a day, then now they're not going to post content. How long, like how much content do you repurpose? I'm curious.
Yeah, no, that's great. That was like one of my original claim to fame keynotes. And when I was speaking, I was always talking about 30 pieces of content in a day was my creation method. And that was exactly because I think every agent can admit that they know they need to be on social media, but so many of them either avoid it altogether or they do these crazy little sprints where you attend a workshop like this and you're like, oh my gosh, cool, we're going to do it. They're so excited. I'm going to post 18 times today. And then tomorrow I'm burnt out and I'm not going to post for another month. It's either that or you go to post and next thing you know, you just wasted an hour trying to get your hashtags right, your photo and your caption. And that's not something that drives the needle forward in your business. So I thought, okay, I want to be effective and efficient with this. I want to make sure that my message is really driving people to take action. And I want to make sure that I am being as effective with my time. So I break it down and I actually have a mixture of, and I work off of 5 elements of myself and my business. So 3 of those things are completely related to me and my personal life or my interests and hobbies. And 2 of them are directly related to my business. And now naturally, I personally have I have just a flow because I've been doing this for so long, but we do done for you management with clients. And that's exactly how we structure it as well, is we have those 5 pillars of content and 3 of them are more personal. 2 of them are directly business related. Sometimes there's some overlap. And then I just break it down and I create 3 to 5 pieces of content for each of those pillars. And now when I'm creating that content, here's the other thing that's great is you're creating a backlog. So when you're going through your day, if you have something that comes up that's relevant and in the moment and you were able to snap a photo or a video as you're going through your day, you can of course post that. You don't have to throw it at the back of the queue and then post it a month or 2 months from now, but it's allowing you to stay consistent because that's the most important thing on social media. Even if consistent to you right now is showing up twice a week, that's better than showing up for a week and then not showing up for a month again. So consistency wins 100% of the time. And I always tell people to start from where you are with what you have. If you're starting from 0 and you're not showing up anywhere at all right now, set these goals for yourself of showing up twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is, and build on it until that becomes habitual. So set those numbers for yourself, backlog the content so that you know you can stick to it for 60 to 90 days. And then just continue to kind of show up. And it does become a habit. It becomes so second nature at that point.
I think like one thing that helped me a lot is emulating somebody I liked and knew. So like I liked her style, and then I just watched how she did it, and I did it my way. But I just kind of got inspired by that. Like she's documented, you know, Bethany. So she kind of taught me how to be in my stories. I'm not going to, I tell this all the time. Like 3 years ago, I met her. I'm like, oh, she's always there and she's talking about what she's doing. I'm like, let me try this. Right. And that's kind of how I just started to do that for myself in my own way. We're different, same industry, different roles, but I kind of started doing that. And that's when I started to really get benefit from social media, is when I did it in that way. And really
I think everyone has, I feel like everyone has this stigma that they have to create content. Well, I don't know what to create. I take content, like if I read an article on like, I don't know, the pressure's on. I read an article that, you know, pressure in business, right? Business is anything at that point. So I basically take that information, I extract all the highlights and I put it into the content that's relevant to real estate or lending, right? And it's real life content. So, but it takes time to do that. And we just did 2 pieces and that's going to go in the back of the line for next month. So what Tessa is saying, guys, is that it's a race, it's a marathon. You're not going to do a sprint and you know, run 13 miles and not train for it. Your ass needs to consistently do a little bit every single day. And these are all, I mean, I got 2 pages of notes so far. Let's keep going.
You know what's crazy is, speaking of the stories and posting on social media, I had a friend who like took a hiatus for about a month. And so I called her. I'm like, I feel like I haven't spoken to you. Like, what are you doing? I don't know what's going on. And it's because she wasn't on social media, because we still talked a couple times a week, but like, I didn't have that like day to day, like, what is she doing? You know, and that's what you can do with social media and the benefit of that. So that's cool. I have a question for you. This is one that I want to know is, how much of your pictures are professionally done and how often are you getting professional content? Because I'm always like, I need more pictures and I never have time. And then how often do you plan it out?
Yeah. So actually, and this is, believe it or not, majority of my content is all created on an iPhone and most of it is created in Instagram. Like even people always ask, oh, what are the best apps for like creating stories or editing stuff? Almost everything I do is fully in Instagram because again, I hate wasting time. And all these other apps and like templates and stuff, it can be cool and fun, but you're taking yourself away from the real message, which is just getting the content out there. So most of my stuff is on Instagram. That being said, every now and then I'll do like a content day. So whether I pair up with some other agents or other people in my market, or I do work with a photographer from time to time, I'll go and just batch a ton of content in a day. I'll bring like 10 outfits and I'll change my shirt like 10 times. We'll go to a couple different locations, or I'll try to do it while I'm doing an open house or previewing a property and just snap a couple of photos in a couple different locations. It's again, one of those things you just condition yourself to, kind of like every time you're next time you're out to dinner or something and there's a cool venue that you're at, snapping a couple different photos so that you have pieces to use time and time again. And a lot of my stuff is from like a batched content day, and then I use it over the next year or so that I'm using those images.
Love it. I know. I'm due for some fresh pics.
Yeah. I have stock images. I got to do that. I'm definitely weak on that side of it. So interesting.
That's another thing. I know, Melinda, you were just talking about like emulating some of the people that you like. That's a good way too, is looking at photos and images and poses and stuff like that. Like I save people's posts sometimes when I see something that I'm like, oh, that's awesome. They're just sitting at a coffee shop or something, but it's kind of an image I wouldn't have thought of. Maybe they have their laptop and a coffee and they're just sitting there like looking, but I save that kind of stuff for some inspiration.
For sure. Or even like a message that somebody has, right? That the message itself, like that's something I would say. You'll say it in your own way, but that's kind of like something I would say. So I'll screenshot it. I remember to go into it later. And the reality is your content in the little mini post that you're doing doesn't necessarily have to be exactly what your picture is.
Yeah.
Right. Can you like elaborate on that? Because even I sometimes get stuck in that, but if you don't mind.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
mean, most of the time mine probably aren't. And sometimes people comment about that, but like, first of all, sorry, I don't know. But that's the reason that I make sure that my initial line, that first like headline of my post is very clear on what I'm talking about. So I structure it just like a blog post, essentially. I treat my content like micro blogs. So that first line of my caption is going to tell you exactly what you're going to get from that post for the most part. And it's kind of a clickbait in a way, and it makes you want to read the remainder of that post. So maybe I'm doing a mini training, or maybe I'm saying the 3 reasons why Arizona is the hottest market for Airbnbs, or maybe I'm talking about how to best market yourself on social media. That's going to be my main line. So whether it's a photo or a video or something like that, then people will know what they're getting. I do oftentimes try to add a little bit of text to my image if it's a message I really want. Like you'll see on my account, there's sometimes I'll put a keyword. So I'll have an image and then it says like consistency. And my whole post is about consistency and why that's so important in your business and your life. Or if I like really don't have an image to go with it, then I'll just do a quick video. I'll do like a reel or something like that so that it does tie in a little bit. But it's also, I like to document my life, and that's how I'm able to do it.
I love it. Yeah, I have it open. That's where I'm getting some of my questions from. I have it on the other screen. So if you see me looking this way, it's because I'm stalking you on this side. All right. So, yeah, Anthony, I think you had a question.
Yeah. So real estate agent, new I am, let's just say, and I'm creating content. I feel like I want you to explain how agents and lenders, everybody on social media, that monetizing social media doesn't come overnight. The way you're going to monetize it is by producing the content and keeping up your consistency. When did you start seeing the fruits of your labor of having, your following and obviously, making money? Making money is the name of the game, right? So did you see a lot of engagement with the interaction that you had with your posts?
Yeah, I would say I started just looking at it as a way to duplicate my daily actions beyond the time that I was out in the world. So that's exactly how I treated it. Is I was like, okay, well, my day's kind of over. I'm home. I'm wrapping up for the day. But now I can still continue to use the next 2 hours or so to network with people virtually, whether that's other agents in other markets, and I can build my referral network, or maybe it's people who follow me and who've engaged and liked my posts from that day or something like that. As far as soon as I saw it, it definitely does take consistency. I've seen some of our clients experience that in that first 90 days if you stay consistent to it. But I look at it more as an extension of my efforts in other areas of my business. I don't rely on organic social media to be the main driver, even though it does tend to typically be one of my biggest lead sources in everything that I do. It's also giving me data of knowing where to put my efforts if I was to do paid advertising. Now that I've been doing organic marketing, I see the kind of posts that people like to engage with. I see the types of people who are engaging with my content, the people who've been sending me messages. So if I'm going to go out and run ads on Facebook or invest money into investing into lead generation, now I actually already have previous data that tells me where I should put those ad dollars so that I'm most effective with my budget. So it does a lot for you in that sense as well.
So are you doing paid ads on YouTube and Facebook, or no? Are you just driving it organically?
Almost every, so in 2018, I personally closed 33 million in sales on my personal side, not for the team. And every single one of those leads came organically through social media. I was not doing any paid advertising. Now today in my business, I do run ads and things like that. It's more on the marketing side. We do that for agents. But I preach the power of organic social media. If you stay consistent, you have a good message, then you can drive so many leads into your business and attract people also that you really want to work with. People that have the intent, and people that gravitate towards your style and that probably fit into the niche of people that you enjoy working with.
Yes.
Good, I love this.
A couple years ago, I realized the majority of the agents I truly enjoy to work with are a lot like me. So, in one way or another, right? So there's something you connect with, whether it's like they're a mom, or they're like a certain demographic of age, or I realize the ones that like to hang out on Instagram versus Facebook are usually the ones that I end up clicking with more. Little things like that, right? Or the ones that like to cook. If you like to cook, we usually end up clicking on, I made relationships just on food. Right. I made relationships just with people just because we have kids the same age. So by showing yourself, you end up connecting people that have that same interest, similarities, whatever, and then you start to build relationships that way. So don't be shy of showing who you really are, right?
Or showing what you're eating.
Showing what you're eating. Oh yeah. It's amazing. People are like, you don't really cook that, do you? I'm like, yeah, I do. That's me. So I don't know where they think it comes from, but yeah. So, anyway.
No, I had a caterer.
Yeah, I had it catered. Yeah.
It's all staged.
So, okay. So you mentioned something about your headlines, they're like mini micro blogs. So, if someone is just getting into it, do you suggest that they go all in with these little mini kind of motivational kind of, you know what I'm talking about? I like, they're like mini micro blogs. They really are when you start getting into it.
I would say like my content, that's my style. I'm a talker. I love to chat. So my content is naturally a lot longer form than most people's needs to be or will be. So I don't think you need to like push yourself to do that if it's not there. But one of the ways I teach people to create awesome content is to use resources. Like Keeping Current Matters is that real estate blog. It's like a paid platform, or they just have their free blog. I literally will tell people to go and pull up that free blog, Keeping Current Matters, and they have all of these different topics. Like they just had a great article on forbearance and how it's going to affect our market. And it's like, it has a good headline. It's got this whole article, and then it wraps up with what that like main takeaways or something. Go read one of those articles, summarize that in your own words, or even give the key takeaways from an article like that. And then wrap it up with, again, what does that mean for your clients? What does that mean for your audience? And now you just have your post. It's that easy. You don't have to like come up with these wild life-changing ideas. You can get inspiration from a lot of these very credible sources. Now, of course, if you're taking their stuff, you definitely want to like reference people if you're using and credit them if you're using their exact words. But it can also be a great way to start more conversation. Let's say I take that article, that forbearance article, and I write a post about it. So my headline is going to be similar to their headline because obviously it captured my attention. I then summarize it in like a little short paragraph. And then I talk about what that means for my audience. And I say, hey, this is from an awesome article on Keeping Current Matters. If you want to read the full thing, shoot me a message or drop a comment down below. And a lot of times people will be interested to read the full article and they'll shoot you a message. And now you've just, again, started a conversation with somebody. So it can be that simple of driving more engagement and using resources that are already created for you.
I love that. What about quotes? I know a lot of people use quotes in different ways, whether it's just the image or whether it's their like the headline or, you know, the theme of a post. So how have you used it? Do you use it? How do you suggest it be used?
Yeah, I would say here's kind of a general rule of thumb that I like to operate by with content. And that's that frequency without relevance is simply annoyance. So if you're just posting a quote just to post something that day, it's not really going to drive a whole lot for your audience. And it can potentially begin to annoy the people who follow you because it's not relevant to them. So I think if you're sharing a quote, it should have something that ties back to maybe why you run your business that way. A situation or an experience. Again, going back to kind of those 3 E's. Is there something that quote can teach them and educate them on? Could it entertain them? Maybe there's some humor in it. Or is it going to elicit an emotion? I can tie that quote to a story of some kind. Otherwise, it's sort of filler content. I think from time to time it makes sense, but it's not really giving them much of a direct result from consuming that content. So I try to make sure that it's always something relevant so that I'm not just starting to kind of repel people from paying attention to what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Filler content. It's the crap is what it really is. It's true, man. I'm taking all these notes. Let me ask you this question. What about videos? Like how many videos do you post? Like what's the normal ratio that a real estate agent should post video content?
I mean, I think videos should be majority of what you share. Videos are so freaking powerful. I myself could do better at posting more videos. It just sometimes I'm on the road a lot and I have to admit I get picky about how my hair looks. I know I shouldn't, but I do. So video content is amazing. I would say if you're gonna do like, it should maybe be 30% of your content is videos. And that could be an Instagram reel. If you are not doing Instagram reels right now, that's super powerful.
I don't have reels.
What do you mean? It's
I don't
not
have
an
it.
option.
I don't have it accessible to me.
I've heard a couple people say that, which is very weird. I know that Instagram rolls out features sort of like in cohorts. So they group different kinds of people together and they roll out these different features and stuff at different times. So
I do have it.
Oh my God. I was going to say, what? How do you not have it?
No, listen, I just realized how to get it in my phone. And I think I figured it out, a little hacky now. So I gotta get to this.
Yes, Reels is where it's at. That's such a fun, quick, and easy way to get a little video up there.
Get ready, people. The reels are gonna start. I checked like maybe a month ago and I didn't have it, or maybe I just wasn't looking properly, but now I got it. So it's going down.
Love it.
It's going down.
So how many reels do you do a day?
A day?
A week? I mean, no, but I mean, like maybe
I see here every third post or so is like a reel or a video. I'm like,
yeah, I usually shoot for that because for me, my feed posts, I'm typically only posting about 3 times in my Instagram feed. I'm just super active on my stories. But again, like it goes back to relevance. If you have relevant content to share every single day, then by all means share every single day. But because my content, the way I deliver it is in those long form style posts, and like it's typically really heavy on the education. So if you watch any of my videos, a lot of the videos on there are like 15-minute IGTVs, and I'm literally training you on like how to create content or how to do XYZ. They're full blown like trainings. That kind of stuff I don't have to share every single day. I can share something like that and it's going to be valuable. So I shoot more for that. But yeah, I would say general rule of thumb, probably every third post. So maybe like once a week, I'm doing a reel or an IGTV or video of some kind.
I love it. What I really love about IGTV is that when you share it, it plays in the story.
I know. That part is nice.
That is something that I like. So I try not to just do a video. And now that I have reels plays in the story too, right? So it's a nicer function to be able to share, because I don't know about you guys, but when you get on social media, what's the first thing you do? Stories. At least me. I click through my stories first before I scroll.
Same.
I don't even scroll, man. I do stories. Scrolling for me is just tedious. It takes too long.
I'm either on my stories or I'm on my explore page. I spend a lot of time on my explore page, and that's where they push your reels out to. So right now they're still trying to drive a lot of traffic to Instagram Reels because it's a newer feature and they're trying to battle TikTok. So that's where they feature different people's reels that are like your following or the people that you follow's following. And so that's how you can it's a good way to grow and get a lot of exposure really quickly.
That's what I was hearing on Clubhouse, is that the algorithms right now in TikTok are not capped. They're just trying to grow it. And so with Reels as well, it hits up all of your sphere and the people that you're trying to do business with, which is good for exposure and to monetize your growth. I had something I wanted to ask. Damn, I totally lost my train of thought. Shit.
So for those people who are maybe greener in social media or haven't done Reels yet, can you explain what Reels is?
Yeah.
Reels is just like Instagram's version of TikTok. So it's very short format videos. You can either do 15 seconds or 60 seconds, and you can like edit it quickly so that it clips between things. I'm sure you've seen kind of TikToks that they can be a little bit choppy. You can add some text on it pretty easily. I have to say the first reel I ever made, it was like a little bit of a learning curve, but I would say it's easier to learn than TikTok. For me, at least. I've tried to make a TikTok and I'm like, I don't even understand.
I filmed somebody's TikTok and I was like, this is so much work for a little video.
Yeah, it really is. So Reels is pretty simple. You just start it and stop it, or you can run it consistently the whole time, and then you can add some text and little emojis and stuff. Or just throw it up as is and just kind of have fun with it.
Can you pre-record a video then upload it into Reels? Okay. Yeah. So guys, and there's so many other like cool ways. Like people ask me, how do you make your tomato sauce? I'm like, could be a cool little reel right there. Exactly. But like, it doesn't have to always be you in the front, right? It could be something that you're working on. It could be something that you're like setting up your open house, or, whatever it is. It doesn't have to always be such a, like,
it doesn't always have to be your face at all. In fact, a lot of times some of the like best engaged Instagram stories and reels and things like that is people love to see the behind the scenes. Like get some behind the scenes of your photographer shooting your listing photos or launching the drone up into the sky or something like that. People like that kind of thing. Why do you think reality TV is so popular? It's because it's kind of behind the scenes, or so we think, of people's lives, and we get to kind of see what's going on and the drama and all that kind of stuff. So have a little bit of fun with showing that kind of stuff too in real estate. I think is cool.
For sure, for sure. Beginner question here in the chat. What is the difference between Reels and IGTV?
Yeah, IGTV is going to be longer format content. You don't have like those starts and stops, which I guess you don't have to in Reels, but IGTV is anything over a minute. So Reels is 15 minutes to, 15 seconds to 60 seconds. When it's over a minute, it has to be an IGTV. So then you're going to have IGTVs can be between a minute, like over a minute long, up to 15 minutes actually is the longest, I believe. Some creators, I just got ability to do a full hour IGTV, which I would literally never do, but it's something I could now do. So I think that Instagram really shoots to create their version of all these social platforms. So IGTV is their way of sort of competing with like a YouTube, is they want longer form video there. Reels is their version of TikTok. It's all of these same kind of things. They're not trying to create a version of Clubhouse even. So,
Really?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
Interesting. Well, I love that. Guys, we have a few more minutes, 5 more minutes. So if you have questions, you could throw them in the chat. In the meantime, yeah, check on Facebook because we're live streaming too. In the meantime, do you have like the one golden nugget that you wish someone would have told you earlier about social media in general?
I would just say to get the heck out of your own way. Stop thinking that you have to have it all perfect before you start showing up. Just start doing it. Guess what? First of all, worst case scenario, you could always delete it if it's that bad, but chances are it's never that bad. And you're just starting to get yourself more comfortable with it. I have videos on my like Facebook page and on my Instagram even. My first ever like videos and stuff on Instagram, I have like 100 views and it is so cringy. The video quality is like grainy. I think at one point the text comes over my face and it's just like stuck on my face the whole time. Like they're so bad, but I leave it up because that's a part of the journey. And honestly, to me, I love looking back at it and seeing, you know what? That was awful. I never would have bought anything from that chick, but at the time it was great. And I got people that engaged with it and connected with it and that followed me because of it. So know that it's all a part of your journey. Get out of your own way and just start taking massive action now, because the more action that you take, the more you're driving yourself towards the results that you require, that you really desire for yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing is we get in our own ways of thinking that we maybe don't deserve the desires that we have, but every single thing you want is already there and ready for you. You just have to get ready to receive it, start showing up as that person. So stop letting the fear take the driver's seat would probably be the biggest thing. I always thought I had to have it figured out before I showed up, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
Right. Stop like getting to that perfectionist, like it has to be like this. Oh, I skipped a word, or I should have said it like that. I'm a big believer in like a one take wonder. Like I'll do it once. I don't even want to hear it again. Unless I really fumbled on my words or like had one of those, brain farts where I like totally stopped speaking. I'm not going to retape it or retake the picture because it's like, it's never going to get that much better. So just go with it,
I'm just like, first figure it out later. Just let's go, keep going. But you said fear is taking the driver's seat. I think that's with a lot of people in general, not necessarily with agents. And then, 2 years goes by and they're like, shit, I wish I did this sooner. Some of the content that I have a decade ago is still up on social media and YouTube. And I get so many people saying, that was you. I'm like, yeah, man, that was me. That's a decade ago. It's real. It's content that still to this day drives in business.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
I love it. So look, guys, we're wrapping up our hour. I want to take this opportunity to thank you again so much for joining us today. I took my notes. I have a few things. I'm going to up my game. I'm going to get in reels. I'm going to put headlines on my captions because I think I should be doing that, since I kind of have a similar like mini blog on most, not all of them, but on some of my stuff. So I like that concept. So I took my notes. I hope you guys took your notes. I hope you guys take a few little nuggets from today and actually implement. We don't do these shows for you to watch and then go do on the same things you're always doing, right? We do these shows for you guys to pick up a nugget or two and implement them in your day. Yes, the damage control is always recorded. So if you didn't catch it live, catch it on the replay. If you have questions, let us know. If they want to find you, Tessa Bella, how do they find you?
The best place to connect with me is right on Instagram. It's Tessa Bella with 2 A's. So TESSAABELLAA. And that's honestly the best place to connect with me. You can shoot me a message. It's always me that responds to things. It's not a virtual assistant or anything. That's my real time that I prioritize, is getting back to people there. So that's the best place.
Awesome. And I know you have some trainings and some challenges yourself. Do you want to go? We have like a couple minutes. Do you want to just go and explain what you got cooking?
Yeah, our latest challenge actually just closed enrollment, but we'll be opening up another one soon. So if you shoot me a message on Instagram, I have this free little lead generation mini course. I just send it to whoever wants it.
So send it to us and we'll send it to our subscribers. How about that? And then we'll send you, like, whoever's interested, get us a link or whatever, so they can share. We could share it easy with everybody. This way they could have that. I love that. Good stuff. So there's her Instagram was put in the chat. It's Tessa with 2 S's, 2 A's, Bella, 2 L's, 2 A's. Look her up, and she's a great person to emulate and follow and get some tips from. And she's always sharing really good content about social media. So if you haven't already followed her, please do. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Amazing energy. Awesome content. Appreciate it.
You guys for having me. Sorry about the time change. Who would have thought?
It's okay. We made it. Today in life, when life goes hard, you got to go harder. We switched the time. I negotiated a last minute closing table deal. Like, it's like one of those days today. It's going to go hard. I'm going to go all the way today hard.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Awesome. Bye.